Hey guys, you may be wondering, I got a whole pirate town. What am I doing? There's no boats. There's no boats in the water. Well, today we got a big old solution for that. All right, everybody. Here we are in our creative world. Where I'm digging a hole because I'm playing in third person. Today I'm gonna show you guys how to build a boat. So, hang on. Let me get out of F5. I gotta build a boat for my survival world. So I figured, hey, why not show everybody how to build a boat? Because I like building boats. So, hang on. What you're gonna need is some of these. And then you're gonna go in your crafting table. And, well, there you go. That's your boat, everybody. Thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe. Please. Please. Thank you. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get serious. So, you want to build a boat. I want to build a boat. Let's do this. We're gonna grab a block. I'm just gonna pick a lighter colored block for right now. It doesn't matter because we're gonna change the color of everything anyway. So I'm gonna take it. So I'm gonna go up into the sky, right? The first thing that you want to do, that I do, is kind of lay out the shape that we are going to be making our ship. So I will start. So we want to have a top down, and then by the side, like a side view of everything, and that'll determine, well, everything. So I'm gonna start there, and you don't want to be super specific just yet. That shaping, the detailing, that comes in later. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay those two things out. All right. Okay, so my step one is done. I know it looks rough, but it's what we start with. So you have the side of the ship. This is the main hull area. Again, we don't have any details. We don't have the rudder. We don't have the bits that come off the front. We don't have any of the deck space laid out. This is just a general shape. Then we can go up at the top, and you can see that we also, again, just a general shape. Kind of want to shape it almost like a fish. We might do a little bit more shaping here, but you know how it starts, or a raindrop might be a better idea because boats are designed to cut or to go through the water. Yeah. Oops, wrong button. But you can see it starts off a little bit more round and then it kind of stretches out as we get down to the back. That's our next step, or that's our first step, I mean. Now our next step is going to be adding in a little bit of the details. I like to lay out where the masts are going to go. A ship like this, I think we're gonna do 1, 2, 3 masts. Then let's see. So we're gonna be walking around. We want to lay out our decks as well. So we're going to want at least one deck straight through the middle here, basically. That'll give you a cabin at the back here. And then maybe 1 or 2 underneath. Don't need anything special. This is a smaller ship. So like I said, I'm going to jump back. Sorry. I'm going to work on these first details. I'm also going to add in the start of the shaping for the front here. And then I will get back to you, show you what that step looks like. Okay, here we are with our first set of details done. We have our masts laid out and height selected. I generally just kind of play it by what I think looks decent. Like, I think these look tall enough, and I think the spacing in between is good enough. Whenever I build like a 3-masted ship like this, I always try and make the middle the tallest, followed by the front mast, and then the back mast. I think it ends up working better. It ends up looking better in my opinion. I've also gone and laid out where our decks are going to be. So we're going to have whoop, we're going to fall right through it. We're going to have one deck up at the top here. Like, we're probably going to have our ship's wheel right about here. Going to have some steps coming up. And then I'm not entirely sure what's going to go back here just yet. Maybe a skylight for the cabin or a bell or something like that. But anyway, then we go down the stairs. And this is the level that our main deck is going to be on. So we'll have probably stairs going down to our lower deck, somewhere around here. A couple kind of deck covers, and maybe a rowboat or two. And then up here, we have just another like kind of front lookout area. With another just kind of raised up portion. I also went and laid out the shaping for the front of the ship more accurately. So we'll have this kind of sharper edge going into a figurehead, which I've kind of just thrown together. And then we have this. I don't know what it's called, but it's at the front of all the boats. So we got it. Now our next step that I like to do is to start working on the actual shaping of the hull. This is probably, besides the sails themselves, one of the hardest parts to doing this. Because you don't want to just bring it right down and into the boat. You don't want to just have a square like this. You want to, hang on, let's get this figured out right. Let's see. I like to throw a line of slabs across the bottom here. I should have thrown this in with my little, with my details section. But yeah, I like to have a little line of slabs down at the bottom. That adds just another layer, I guess, of everything. But even that here is going to make it look a little bit better. But something like that usually works. On bigger ships, you want to go with almost like a light bulb shape, where you start it out kind of like this. Oops. Oh well. And then go in. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that with the ribs, I guess, on this ship. But that's generally like the shape that you're going to want to go with. You don't want it to be straight up. So I'm gonna mess around with this and get a couple ribs laid out throughout the different sections of the ship. Then I will come back and I will kind of explain my thought process. Okay, so this is the kind of the general idea of what I was talking about with the ribs. So we're gonna lay them out and we're gonna try and go for that almost light bulb shape. I lay them out every few blocks or when something's different with the height or with the thickness of the ship itself. As you can see, we have them laid out as I've described. I've also gone ahead and started to fill in kind of the areas around here, up in the front and in the back, because it doesn't make as much sense to do the ribs because they're just going to be so close to each other in those situations. And I also haven't done it on this side. That's just because, well, it's not super important yet. So what we're going to do is we're now going to fill in the space between these ribs. Oh, I also used a mixture of stairs and slabs for this, because, well, I'm going to be building a ship out of wood, and having the option to do those gives me more choices with the shaping of our vessel. All right, so I'm going to start filling in the spaces in between, and then we'll go into talking more about the actual shaping of each section and trying to get a nice smooth rounded shape for our ship. All right, catch you guys in a minute. Okay, so I've now gone and filled in everything based off of the ribs that I laid out, and you may notice things are looking kind of funky. This is where I think it would be best if you just kind of come in and do a little shaping of your own. So the front of this looks pretty decent, but maybe we could get a little shaping right there. It kind of smooths everything out. I'm not sure I like how this looks. Let's try and bring this out over here, similar to how we have that. We could even throw in a couple slabs. Or a stair, or a stair at the bottom. We could also do that over here if we wanted to. See how that already starts rounding things off and giving it a nicer shape? You can do it up at the top. Now here is where things get a little more funky. I'm going to take these and do something like that. Again, it just gives it a rounder shape, which is what we are looking for. Here, I think that's what we want. I think that looks decent enough. So now the front is shaping up to look a little bit nicer. Let's work back. I'm not sure I like having those stairs right there just yet. Actually, I'm not sure I like having them at all. Let's take these out. I want those to be blocks. I don't think I'm the biggest fan of that. Let's take a couple out. See, that looks a little nicer, right? Okay. Let's do something similar back here. We can even take that and add in a slab or two there. Now, since we're modifying the top, we should also change up the bottom. And again, I just add stairs or slabs and then remove stairs or slabs. It's quite simple, really, once you get the pattern down, but it results in much nicer shaping. If you look back on what we had before, or even just right back here, which we haven't touched yet, this area is a lot smoother, a lot cleaner. We can even start smoothing off the edges for these decks. Let's add those in like that. And look at that. We have a nice... I'm not sure I want that one there. A nice clean transition between the levels. Alright, now let's jump back into our hull shaping. Again, I want to bring this one down and add more blocks coming out the back of this. That is going to cause these to want to become full blocks and maybe some slabs, or at least a slab. Do that and another full block down here. Maybe 2 full blocks. And then I want to take this off. I want to take that off. Because we almost want that bulb shape to kind of melt away back here. We want to smooth everything out. This just looks funky. At least want to do something. Oops. Like that. Here, let's make... See how a stair looks there? Not sure I'm liking the stair. What if we do a slab? And then we'll also do a slab right there. That looks nicer. Let's work on the shaping down at the bottom. I think that works. And now we have a much smoother, a much nicer looking shape for our hull. Now I'm going to copy this design. And maybe not yet. We don't have everything yet. I don't want to rebuild everything and then just change it all. So yeah, this is what we have now. Now what we do next really can be a couple things. We can either fill out our deck, which actually, yeah, what we want to do next is fill out our deck. So I'm gonna fill everything in, starting up here. Okay. Now we have the rest of our decking laid out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start poking holes for cannons and other spots of detailing. Okay, got a couple holes in our ship. I think just because of how these are, I'm going to move these down half a block. So these holes are going to be like this. Just like that. I think that works. I'm sorry, I think I might be doing things out of order here. It's been a minute since I built the boat. I do want to apologize. So we have our cannon holes and like kind of breather holes. Like these are all going to be like little breather holes, I think. What I want to do actually now is work out our color scheme. Okay, so now we have our color scheme figured out, and I have also mirrored it onto the other side to the best of my ability. I just haven't taken out the holes for the well, I haven't taken out our holes yet. So our next step actually is going to be working on the cabin at the back. So what we want to be able to have is, well, a little room back here for our pirate captain. It's gonna be nothing super ooper duper special, but basically it's gonna be somewhat decorative. But yeah, just like a nice little window kind of thing going on in the back here, I think. But for this, we're gonna grab a different block. Now, I've never been super good at making the cabins at the back. I've struggled with these for as long as I can remember. So, well, we're just gonna hope for the best once we lay this out, okay? Again, we want to kind of have our swooping shape like we have for the rest of the ship. For this. Yeah, like the cabins always take me the longest to figure out how to do. Because it's getting this far, especially into the shipbuilding process, and things start turning into a rather complex set of shapes. And, well, I just never know the right way to do it, or the right blocks to use, or anything. Okay, so here, this is what we got. Again, it's nothing special. What I'm gonna do is come around and add a bit more detail. Okay, see, that's a lot nicer than what it was before. Again, I'm not great at the cabins. I'm sorry. Apologize. On bigger boats, they are easier. A lot of this stuff is easier on big boats. However, I'm making a small boat because I don't have a lot of blocks. When I when I get to making a bigger boat, I will kind of redo this video, I think. That's the goal. Okay. So now that we've done that, we've got our hull. Yeah, that's gonna have to change colors. I don't know what we want it to be, but it's not gonna be spruce. How would jungle look? All right, that's how it looks being made out of jungle. And honestly, I do think that looks better than making it with the spruce. I think. I don't know. I don't have mangrove. Hang on, let's see what mangrove would look like. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, there's one more that I'm thinking about. I don't know. I'm gonna swap out this side to mud as well. If you guys think I should change it, let me know, please. This is what we got. I'm still not sold on everything. Yeah, tell me what you guys think. I'm kind of iffy on everything. All right. Our next step is to deal with our masts. So, masts. We need to split these up into where we want our sails to be. All right, so we want to split our masts into about 3 sections for the front 2 and 2 sections for the back 1. So what we'll do is we'll take what we have and kind of figure out where we want our sails to be. I think right there, and right about there. And we want that middle section to absolutely be the biggest of the 2. Now what we'll actually be doing is we're going to turn these into platforms. And on these platforms, this is actually going to move forward a little bit. Now these masts are going to end up being a little bit taller, but this is where the sails are going to be. Yeah, I'm starting with these because that one's got a little bit more funk to it. So we're going to need some white wool. And we are going to take a block. Okay, I like to do these in sections of 3. Like this. Actually, what you want to do... I just remembered this. We kind of want to taper this outward. Or upward. So yeah, we have a section of 3. This is where our sail is going to be. This allows us to get much nicer shaping on our sail. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I went out more. That's right. I did that on purpose. I just forgot to do it on the other side. Okay. 1, 2. Here we go. See, it's starting to come together. And we're going to do the same thing once again down here. Then each stage we get a little bit wider. So I am not yet fully decided on whether this boat is going to be sailing or it's going to be sitting at our dock. So I am going to build sails on the middle mast here. So you can, so I can show you guys how to do those. And then the front mast, I'm going to build the sails kind of curled up. There we go. Now we have the places that the sails go. So for our sails that aren't really going to be hanging down, so all the full blocks, we're going to hang some wool from. We're going to do a little something like that. And then I like to just kind of blend this stuff together a little bit. There, you know, here we go. We have our sails kind of tied up, you know, not really hanging down, not blowing in the wind. But now we get to the harder part of sails. And that's actually making them blow in the wind. So what I do is kind of similar to how we've done shaping for a lot of the other things. So this, I always bring out one block. We come down and we try and hook it up to where we want it to end. So we have a nice kind of L shape. Then we'll kind of fill it in this way. Yeah, build these kind of flat. and just bring it across to the right spot. There we go. Bring it across. And again, connect it down to where you want it to go. As you can see on this side, we have to go back a little bit. So we'll have to work that into our shaping. But besides that, the shaping is going to be pretty similar going up and down as to the other side. But now we just have to bring it back about 2 blocks. I'm falling. My gosh. And it's really just kind of like, oh, I think this looks better here. I think it looks better there. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, let's bring these down. Just try and connect everything up. You want to leave a little gap at the bottom, and I like to leave a little gap in the middle of the top. Now we see it looks really flat. What we're going to do is just add more shaping to it. Kind of just come around and fill it in. Again, smaller sails are harder to do. It's harder to capture that detail. It is. You can even bring out this side a little bit more. And, there we go. We have our sails blowing in the wind. It works better. The side that's furthest out, if it has the most. Or even if it's, just done evenly. But that's the small sails. So we can take that lesson down to the biggest sail here. And we'll start 1 block out from our, again, I don't know the word for it. I'm not a sailboat person. I just like them in Minecraft. Stuff for our mast. We'll take it. Bring it down to where it needs to connect up, which is the top. Here we go. So now we have a much bigger L. Now I still like to do, I think something like that. Oops, actually, I kind of like to curve it and have it, yeah, this shape kind of, I'm sorry. Have the majority of the curve towards the bottom, I think is the right way to put that. Okay, let's see what we got here. Again, a similar shape. We just have to bring it back. So I'm going to do this sail. I'm just going to fill everything in, and then we can do our little bit of shaping like we have here with it. All right, now we have our sail, and you must be thinking, wow, that looks flat. That doesn't look like the shaping we have up here. Well, that's because, you're right. It is flat. So first, we got to start taking blocks out. Then we can add more in. I like to take a few blocks out. Do this. Now let's make some shapes. Something like that. And I'll even bring it out one more this way. And again, more this way. And you can even bring some back if you think it adds to the shape that you're going for. Or you can keep it forward, just it's up to you. It's yours to do how you do it. I'm just doing it my way. Yeah. See, that looks really boxy. We want to have less boxes, more shapes. This is something that can be, well, will probably be easier to do soon with the new update coming. Oops. Yeah, this is my way of doing it for now. That's going to be our big sail. It looks a little rough. It does. I need to gotta add some more to it, I think. Yeah, we don't want that. See, that's way too flat. I just realized that. We don't want that. That's part of the problem. And then, of course, you want to take the stuff out in the back that... Yeah, because you only want this to be about 1 block thick, you know? Not me forgetting where everything that I placed is. Okay. Yes. So you can, if you want to, add some more shaping around here as well. It's actually recommended by me and other people who are much more talented than I am to do so. Okay. That works more. That looks better. That has more shape. More wind. More blowing in the wind. Okay, here we go. Now, for our last sail, it's going to be a little different because we don't have stuff to tie it off to. So again, we are going to start over here because it's my preferred starting spot. We're going to come down. Okay, here's what we got. I'm going to take this and we're going to bring it down. About a little bit, you know, a couple blocks. We want it to kind of be around here. We're going to bring it in. Actually, we're going to bring it back as well. And out. Yeah, we want this to go all over the place. Here we go. Okay, here we go. We have our main sail. Yeah, this is going to come close to our levels around here. It is. So what we're going to do, we're just going to fill everything in. And then we're going to take these. And we just want everything to kind of line up. I don't... Just bring it around a little bit. And there we go. We got a little bit of shaping there. Let's start carving out the top. And we can start at least adding a little bit to that. And again, it's smaller, so it looks worse. The blocks are just so big. But there we go. That's our bottom sail. Now, so we could have something like this, or we could have full sails. But what I like to do in the back here is different. So let's put this on the same level as the one up front. Let's see, I'm going to go with deep slate. So let's bring this up one more. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Bring that up one more. 1, 2, 1, 2. Bring that up one more. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. So I like adding these little things at the tops of our masts. We're gonna have a flag coming off the middle one here, and I like doing little pennants on these. But anyway, we have more sails to make. 1, 2, 2, 3. This, oops, nope. I had it right before. There we go. This one will be similar to that one up there. It's going to be small and like that. Okay, so this is going to have more sails like this. And these two are going to connect. For now, I'm just going to kind of leave it up at the top here. And I like doing funky things with the sails in the back. So, this ship, I've decided, going to have something like that. And then, going to do similar shape to what we have up front. And we're going to have a small sail in there. Now we have our wind kind of going in this direction. So we're going to want this sail to also follow in that direction, at least a bit. So it's going to go on this side. Going to be something like this shape here. And then we'll just add a bit of extra wind blowing in it. Just like that. So now we have a lot of our sails done. The next part is the rigging, which is done kind of alongside the sails. So what I need to do is connect everything with fences. Whoa, I forgot about the offhand. However, it's really late and I'm tired, so I'm going to do this at a different time. It's going to be the same time for you, but not for me because I need to go to sleep. So I will catch you guys in a bit. Okay, so we have our rigging starting to take shape. I used a mixture of fences and fence gates. I like to go with all the horizontal lines I like to use fence gates for. And the ones that are a bit more vertical, I will use standard fences. You may have noticed that none of these are connected. It does look a little funky up close, but once you're farther away, it looks a lot nicer than if they were touching each other. It makes them look a lot more like strings instead of, well, fences. So now what we do is the next step. So what I like to do is I will come right about here where this one starts, and I will take this one and go to both sides and connect it to the end of our mast or our sail parts here. So this one's going to go all the way down to here. So I've been using glass as a temporary block. just do this. So we want to, similar to how I do my shaping for everything else, start it off, nice and simple. I think this one might be easier to go. Oops, I'm falling. This one might be easier to do our horizontal line first. So we want to bring it. Here's the middle there. That's one block too high. Hang on. We want to bring it all the way over to there. So what we can do is we can start getting the shape. And I think we might be able to do 2 by 2 because of where it connects into. Let's see. So 2, 2, 2. Then this one would be a glass. And then 2. So it's going to connect in right there. Now, we have this. We want to bring it down. So when I do curves on something like this, I always want, if it's an odd number, I always want the lowest portion to have the most amount of blocks. So I'm going to take this. Now that we have our actual line laid out, let's fit it in. These are going to be going underneath where we want our fences to be. So it's going to start here. So this one is going to be moved all the way down here. Whoa. All right. So I'm going to get rid of those. So we're starting down here. And we might be able... This one's going to be a lot simpler. Yeah, because this is actually just going to line right on up with everything that we have so far. Now this one's a bit simpler, obviously. There. Here we go. We have our first side. The harder one is usually this second side over here. It's shorter. That's usually the reason. But we follow the same design principle. Go down. Oh, jeez, I'm crouching. Here we go. All right. So again, we want to move over. And I'm going to try to go by 2s again. Let's see what we got. Now that doesn't work because we need it to come here. So we need it. We want our glass to come right there. That's where we need this. So what we might want to do is come out by 2. Now we can have that line. And it's got the shorter side here so that it looks like it's stretching out here as opposed to... I don't know where I was going with that. I'm sorry. It looks nicer if you bring it out this, like, the long way as opposed to the short way. Let's see here. Dang it. I keep breaking the wrong one. All right. Let's do that, and then you'll come up. Again, we're using the fence gates because these are horizontal. And look at that. All right. I'm going to now go and do the rest of our masts like this, following this method right here. I hate saying that it's quite simple, really, but once you get the hang of it, it does start to be pretty easy. I'm going to start through here. I'm going to get these 3 done, following that same design. And then we're going to move back here. Back here, we're going to have a lot more vertical lines because, well, we're starting here. We're going all the way up there. Then, oops, we're going to be starting down here, or right about here, and going all the way up to those. That's where the real shaping starts to change. And then these bottom ones, they're going to tie in around the back of the ship down here. These are going to come in down at the bottom there. There's one more step that we have to do after I've done what I'm working on right now, and then we'll finish up these. Looking back on it, I probably should have done that step first, but oh well. Oh, you'll learn. Like I said, it's been a minute. Doing things kind of out of order because it's been a while. All right, so I'm gonna get these started, and then I will get back to you. All right, I wanted to come in and provide a quick example as to what I was talking about with my shaping here and how we transfer from the fence gates to the actual fences themselves. So what we're doing here is we have the more vertical lines being made out of the fence blocks, and then I have some that are doubled up just so that it provides more of an illusion. But then we come down here and we transfer into our fence gates, and I think that is somewhat convincing. It works like a string. Yeah, I wanted to show that off really quick. And we might even come right here and change that one. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think it looked better before. But yeah, that's excuse me. That's just a little bit of a process. It's a lot of back and forth, really. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up these, and I think I'm just gonna go ahead and build these real quick. All right, catch you guys in a minute. Well, for you, it's gonna be a little while for me. All right. All right, here we go. So we now have our completed rigging, at least as far as we've done so far. Again, it looks kind of messy, but we go far away. It looks good. We got it going. You know, we got fully rigged, kind of, sorta. Now you may be wondering, hey, what are you doing with more mud? It's time to build a figurehead and the rest of the bulkhead for the ship, because, well, I haven't done that yet, and that's one of the things that we need to do. We need to make a bulkhead, as well as a couple places to tie things down. So let's just jump on it and jump on in. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna change this out here for our mud that we're using for our more decorative block back here. Again, if you guys think of a better looking block for this stuff, I will use it. This was just what I had. So what we want to do is just kind of have a shape around here. I use full blocks for it to just get things started. But we can always change things around into slabs. Bring that one up, and we'll bring that one right in there. So this is what we've got. Let's change this one out for a stair. Nope, wrong way. Like that. Actually, hang on. What does that look like? Pretty decent, pretty decent. Now, we want to have a little bit more shaping because this is supposed to be, again, more ornamental, I believe is the right word. And we'll stand on our water, and look at this. I think this works out quite well. We can even add just a touch more of everything to it, like that. Bring out some walls, maybe? I don't know. What you do here is up to you. Again, just like, well, everything else. But I think this works out. Yeah, I think that's a good look. Okay, we do have a couple spots in here. I'm gonna just try filling those in this way rather than where we had them. Let's see here. And then take those out there. I think that works better because we do have a smaller ship. Yeah, I like that a bit more. Okay, again, real simple. Just adding a little bit more detail. This is a bit easier than other things tend to be, at least in my opinion. Oops. All right, let's just mirror it over here. I think we're looking good so far. Okay. Then we have 2 normal facing steps like that, full block, and a little doohickey up on top. Now, here is where we would add some kind of anchor design. So this is a small ship. What we want, or what I want to use is, where's my creative inventory? There we go. I want to just keep all those blocks. I want to get some stones, I think. I want to say either andesite or just straight smooth stone is going to be the way to go here. And I think I went past the stone. Let's find it. Or, yeah, stone slabs. Okay. Dang it. I don't need a whole stack. All right. Stone. Oh, there's not a stone wall? Okay, yeah. All right, we're going to use andesite because there's a wall variant. If I can find it. Jeez. All right. One there. I'll grab. This is what we have. So we kind of want the anchor to fill up this spot here. Let's see. There's a couple ways that you can go about designing something like this. I think right here is a pretty simple way of doing it. We can even use some stairs for some more shaping. Like that. Maybe a full block there. Not sure. I think the walls actually do work better in this situation. Yeah. Do the walls. If we want to, we can do something like this. So just find a design that you are happy with. And that'll be what you want to do. Even do different shaping like that, but that makes it a little bit more difficult. I think, hang on. I'm going to think on this real quick. I'm going to mess around with a couple things, and I'll come back with a better design. It's time to make some tie-offs. Or spots to tie things off. I'm going to go through with the mud again. Actually, I might do this out of spruce wood. Let's grab some spruce stairs. All right, so we want to start right about where this mast goes. And we'll do something. We'll throw up something like that. We'll do the same thing right here. Now that is the same design here, but it does not work over here, does it? It is too tall for that section of our boat. So what I'm actually going to do is offset it all by 1 block. So we're actually going to start 1 block behind the mast, which is different to how we've done it on the other side. But that'll allow us to keep that same design, and it'll make the lines of everything look just a little bit more dynamic, which I think will pay off. All right, and now this one's a little bit smaller. We're going to come around to the back of the ship here. I'm going to start right like that. It's going to be smaller, like I said. Just like this. 4. So 5, 5, 4. It's going to be slab, stair, slab, stair, slab, stair. And this one is stair, slab, stair, slab. All right, I'm going to move these around over to this side. And then I'm gonna work through the next step. Okay, so here we go. We now have our tie-offs around each side of the ship. I also have gone ahead and added in our little cannon holes that we built on. They're on both sides now, just to make things a little bit more symmetrical. And as you can see, our ship is really starting to take shape. But now it is time to build stuff for here. So what, wow, I don't know what they're called, but you use them and you can climb up to the next level is how it works. So I'm going to take another temporary block and I'm going to lay these out. I'm going to go with bright red wool for this. So we want essentially to make a triangle that goes right up to here. Okay, let's just... So as you can see, it's not super difficult to get this shaping quite right. Just kind of throw your blocks in. I think this will work out for us. Because again, this is all going to be made out of our fences. And a couple trap doors actually along the top side of each fence. Now we're going to want to take this and start moving it inward. Let's see here. I think that'll work out quite well for us. Now the hardest part about this step is just trying to make sure that everything lines up the way you want it to, coming inward. Because you don't want to have it looking like this. You want it to appear taller rather than longer or flatter. Whoa, fell right off there. Okay. So essentially, this is what we're going for. We're going to mirror this all along, or all across each thing. It's really quite simple. Again, yeah, it's quite simple. It's quite, yeah. There's nothing to it. Let's grab our fencing. I did not mean, gosh, I'm just not good at pressing buttons today. Okay. So what we're going to do here is along the top of this, we're going to add trap doors in. These are going to do is just, it's another, it's just a way to bridge the gap more. And you might even want to connect it up like this. That's something that you can do if you choose. Whoa. And look at that. We now have our first, I don't know the right word for it, but it's kind of like a ladder. So if you're able to get up there, right, you can even jump off the boat and fall down. Yeah. If you're able to get up there, you can then jump all the way up, pretty much. And again, you can also take the trapdoors down if you would like. I think they work better at giving it the shape that we're looking for. So we're going to take this and try and mirror it. Well, not mirror it, but bring it all around the boat. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to make this one step bigger here in the middle. And I'm going to do the same to this one. That's going to allow us to have more of that triangular shape this way. I'm going to go ahead and do that on this side as well. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with our triangle. Okay, I'm going to add in these blocks, right down here so our fence gates can hook up. So that is as high as our triangle is going to go. We now have 5 blocks. Look at that. This one's going to be quite simple because we're going to bring it over. 2, 3, just like this. Okay, and just like that, we have our next shape laid out. All right, now I'm going to go right across with our trapdoors. And I like to make sure that it's all facing the same way. That just makes it a bit easier. Okay. And now down here, it's short enough that we can crouch, so we can just connect these right up. And here we go. Let's come out and look at that. That adds a whole lot more stuff going on. Yeah, and we'll do the same thing right back here. These two I'm going to keep the same size as they are right now, just because they're smaller. It wouldn't make sense for them to be so big. All right, here we go. Our triangle really is just going right there. It's quite small on this one. But again, it's just going to be a nice little shape. I think this will work just fine for right back here, actually. Hang on. Oops. I think this shape will work just fine for right back here. Again, here we go. There we go. I'm going to now continue this upward using the same principles as before. We're going to go right up here. That's where we connect up. And this one is a much different shape. It's shorter, or thinner, I mean, but we can do something like that. 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it's quite simple, really. Actually, I don't think we want it to be that thin because, wait a minute. Fence gates again. Let's see how these look. I actually haven't tried it this way before. So give me 1 second to try and figure out the right way to do this, because this is normally I would do just two fences next to each other for something like that. But the fence gates might work out. I don't know why I put that there. All right, let's go in with our... How did I manage to do that? Okay. I think that works. Again, because it is smaller, this is what we will do. How does it look? Do we want open or closed? I think closed is the way to go. There we go. So that's our next layer. Again, it starts at the outside and works itself inward. Now for our last spot, again, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Going to connect this guy in, and we'll probably end up with our fence posts again. 2. So 1, 2. Yeah, I like this. And 1, 2, 3. Again, a smaller ship, this is going to be a lot simpler. Just because there's a lot less you have to do. But here we go. Now we're going to mirror. These same designs will basically carry over all across the ship. And you can easily mirror them side to side. So that is what I'm going to do. And then we're going to check back in. And then we will finally finish our rigging from these masts. Again, there's not too much left. We just have to tie this stuff in down here. And then we'll tie this one in and that one in. Be relatively simple. After doing all this, this is a decently easy process. So I'm going to finish out my, ladders, and then we're going to come right back to it. I'm working in the back here, and one important thing that you might notice is that this sail is getting in our way. What you can do here is basically just ignore the rope and let the sail do its thing. So that's what I do. Because having a nice looking sail is more important to me than making sure this rope connects up everywhere that it's supposed to. Okay, here we go. We now have all of our ladders all around. Again, things are really starting to fill up. Now we're going to add on our ties for this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and just sort everything back. Well, not sort really, but put everything back into my inventory here. We're going to grab our spruce fences and our glass. So what we want to do is tie this block in right about there. So we want to come across about 2 blocks and then go up about 2 blocks down here. See, that one is going to be pretty simple. Just a bunch of fence gates. Just like that. The harder one is up here because we want to go into that same spot. Actually, I'm going to change this up real quick because I think it'll honestly look better if we are out here. All right. Right there. Oops. Like that. Ah, dang it. I hate placing fence gates, so this is going to be a lot of fun when we're playing in survival. Okay. Luckily, we'll have access to light Matica, because no way am I building this freehand. All right, so we have that, and we're going to bring it down right onto this one here, because we need something to bridge the gap between these 2 spots. Now, this looks like it's going to be a pretty simple line to try and match up. Luckily, it is. Again, we're going to be doing similar to how we have things up at the top with all of these. So we're going to want longer at the front. Here we go. Again, we're going to be bringing it down right here. That appears to have worked out really quite well. Nice and simple. And I think I'm going to take out this gate. Whoa! That right there, just so that we can have a spot to make this look like it fits in with everything. And I did this wrong. Oh no. Let's fix this stuff. Why am I down so far? Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness. I hate flying on Java Edition. It sucks. I keep falling. I don't like it. I think it's more the crouch that I'm not a fan of. Anyway, here, shoot. Here we go. See, nice and simple. And it comes in and it ties in right over here. Now you can even do something like that so that it actually fits in. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. I think I like it better this way. So that's how I'm going to keep it. Bring something like that. There we go. I like that. So now we're going to do something similar. Right over here on this side. Whoa. Okay. Gosh, it's kind of a maze. That falls. I mean, it kind of works. It's a little funky. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but that's basically what we got going on. Want to have this tie right on in. It is harder on these areas. It is. It's an issue with how everything works. Actually, what if I just do something like that? I think that makes the most sense, because why would we have it tie further back? Like, that doesn't make sense. Okay, I think that works out better. All right, so again, we're going to take these and bring them in. Now, since this doesn't have the full sail underneath it, we're not going to worry about the bottom one just yet. Unless I want to go ahead and do that really quick. Okay, here we go. So, I have now finished our sails, and I've tied everything in. So as you can see, we have rope going down, connecting the corners, connecting the masts, all going in, and we have our sails. This one looks really thin, but that's because we have no room to work with up here. But yeah, so we have sails. We have a sail back here. Again, I'm not perfect at sails. Sails are really hard. It's really difficult to make it look like something's actually blowing in the wind, as far as these vertical ones go. Our next step is sideways sails. Now, you do not have to do these. I think on a ship this small, I don't think it's necessary, but you can if you want to. So what you're going to want to do for those is you will take these lines here, and I'll do one real quick. Actually, yeah, because I want one. I changed my mind. I want some small sails. We want to just connect right up like this. It'll be small and just go right in. Right in here. Now these are going to kind of blend in both with each other and your main sails, again, especially on something this small. So try to give it a little bit of shaping, and you're usually pretty okay. Then we can have it connect right up into this here. So that's our first one. Again, nice and small. I can throw in another one down here. Start with 2 blocks. Put it right there. Actually, I'm gonna keep it really even smaller than the last one. And we'll try and tie it in right about there. Here we go. As far as the back of our ship goes, nice and full. We'll do a couple more in the middle here. And then we'll finally get started on the detailing for our deck. Actually, I'm going to put some up front, and then we'll get started on our deck detailing. All right, here we go. We now have all of our sideways sails in. We have everything, basically, above the deck. Done. Minus various details on each mast stage. I also added in a little sail at the front here. We have 2 here. Actually, hang on. I want to throw in a third, just for good measure. There. Small ship. A lot of sails. We go very fast. Okay. Now it is time to move down to the deck. Here we are. You may notice it's a little difficult to walk around. There's a lot going on. So let's get rid of some of this stuff and just grab the necessities. Our deck is built out of spruce. We're going to have details using dark oak. I want to use shelves because it makes things look nice. So, I'm going to come right here where we have a doorway. Or what will be a doorway. Here, let's grab our dark oak door. And we're just going to finish off this wall here. I want the doorknobs to be going in. But I think this might be a case where only one door is needed, just because, again, of the size of our ship. So we're going to take this, and we're going to be able to come right up here. Now, I like, when I do stairs, to fill in the back. So that's what I'm going to do right here. So we can now come up here. You may be wondering, what are we going to do up here? Well, that is where we're going to grab our dark oak stairs. So we have this. All right. Place that there. This is where we're going to look for a door, a trap door. Anyone you like to use, I want one that looks the most like a wheel. So I'm going to use jungle, and I'm going to put it right there. Now we have a steering wheel for our boat. Back here, I want to put in a skylight. So we're going to grab our glass. And because the deck is spruce, we can just do a little something like this. Whoa! Across all sides. Again, small. Here we go. And then we'll grab, I think that's okay. Have a little bit of light coming down. We should probably have something keeping you from being able to go across this, shouldn't we? There we go. I think that works. I think that works. Come down here. I'm going to cut out a couple spots in the middle. So I want to move this forward by 1. There we go. Right here, we are going to have stairs. There we go. And we can still walk around. Here, it's going to be a little different. There we go. And now we can't fall down that hole. We're going to grab a block to use almost as a grate. Now, I use trapdoors that you can see through for this. And then we need a boat. Whichever color you want to use. I like to have at least one. And here we go. We have our boat. Now, if you want to, you can tie it off, do whatever you prefer. But now we need to get up here. This one is just like that. Here we go. And now look at that. We're up here. So again, stuff's pretty simple. We want to have... So boats will have these things around masts that you walk around and they spin. I can't do that because I have blocks there. That's frustrating. Let's change this. Sorry. Now they are used for cargo. It's almost just like a big crank that you walk around. Or if you want to have one up here, you can use it for your anchor, which obviously we don't have on this boat. Yeah. You'd walk around, you'd push, and there you go. You'd be able to make it up. I guess we can just go ahead and throw in a couple... Let's grab some barrels. Barrels are always nice to decorate things with. We can just kind of have a couple stacked around here. We'll put one in the middle. And then I'm not certain on where to put a bunch. I don't want to overcrowd everything. I think that's going to be okay. All right. And now I like to use lanterns to light my ships. Just for the same reason that I think anyone would like to use lanterns. They look nicer. So we're going to have one hanging here. Can't put one off the side of that. Hang on. Let's grab another... grab a fence so we can hang our lantern. And we'll do the same thing over here. There we go. Now, if you want, you can have... I like to put some up at the front. Here, let's put them right there. We need to find a spot to put a ladder. I'm going to pick this area right here. And I'm going to grab a ladder. Now, my reasoning for picking this spot is because I think it'll look nicer there. Alright. And I want to be able to get on and off my ship. Let's grab dark oak. There we go. So we're just gonna have a ladder coming down for usability. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side over here. There we go. Now we can climb up and down our ship. I'm going to build some flags, actually, because that's what I want to build right now. I don't have a particular design in mind. However, my biggest goal is to just try and make it look like it is blowing in the same wind that our sails are blowing in. So we can have something like that. Just like that. And now we're blowing in the wind. Here we go. And the shaping is up to you. Something like that. It can have a couple pennants. Little things. Coming out of the front of these here. Yeah. Just nice little details. That's really what adds to it. Let's stand back. I mean, look at this. I think we've done quite well for ourselves.
All right, everybody. It is now time to work on our interiors. Before we jump in, I did want to show off a couple things that I have done since my last clip. I have made a glass platform to act as the water. And I have reworked the back of my cabin here. I wasn't happy with the shape, so I wanted to go back in and redo it. It also added a little rudder down here. Just to show that the ship can steer. That's it. Let's head inside. You'll notice we don't have too much space. But one thing that I always like to do is to have some form of bedroom and a little desk. So I'm gonna take a dark colored block. Maybe I'll do some dark oak. And I'm just gonna fill in these holes that are meant to be for cannons, because this ship's really not gonna need them. All right. So first things first, we are gonna lay down. I gotta find it. It's a nice little bed right here, and maybe we'll change this out for steps so that we can walk right up there. I don't think that'll cause any problems. Maybe it will. I don't know. Hang on, just to be safe though, because I wouldn't want you to build something like this and then it gets stuck in the ceiling. I would feel bad. All right. There we go. Let's head back out and in. Now we can maybe set up a little room divider. And I think the dark oak will work better there. Actually, no, that should be bamboo if we want this to match with the rest of our ship. There we go. So we'll have our bed, or maybe we'll have a single bed. And we'll do a nice little bedside table with a lamp. It's a lantern. Gosh, I don't even know the blocks in Minecraft. Okay. There we go. Then we can build a nice desk into the back right here. There we go. Have a chair. I'll do a similar design to what I'm using in the survival world here. There we go. The nice little chair. Once we have the actual cushion blocks in the game, we'll be able to sit there. Now I would put a map on the desk here, but I mean, there's nothing important going on that I need to map out in the survival and the creative testing world here. Yeah, I mean, you can really fill up the interior however you want when it comes to this part. It's honestly, it's up to you. Did I do that wrong? That side's wrong. Hang on. There we go. But yeah, like I said, it's really up to you. And you can go down here, and I'll just finish off. I'll kind of cover this area up. Yeah, maybe we can do a little prison or something back here. Right. Got a rig. Yeah, what's the let's do something like this. Maybe. Show that it's worn a little bit. I've never used the copper blocks before. But yeah, maybe we'll do something like that. We can put let's find a lever for the door. There we go. And I'll just continue this all the way across here. There, now it looks it looks the same on both sides. Okay. So we have this. We'll want to I like to kind of carry this area down into the next level. So maybe we can stack up. Oops, that's just in the complete wrong spot. There we go. Man, I lost my fence gates. Something like this. And then whatever cargo you want, the ship to be carrying, you can put there. I'll just put a couple barrels in. And you can just, whatever you want to do. It's just something that could go up through here. Yeah, little things like that to kind of fill things in. I might even just kind of cover some of this stuff up. I don't know. It's really up to you. The interior it doesn't matter as much, at least to me. Because I'm not going to spend a lot of time inside it. One thing that I do think adds a lot to it. I don't need those blocks anymore. Let's grab a couple things. So I'm going to grab some glass. Do light gray. Nope. Grab light gray, white, and more white. And then also grab some cobwebs because that's just another way of doing this. So a boat that's blowing in the wind isn't just going to be sitting still. You're going to have the water move. So one thing that I've seen is just to throw down a bunch of cobwebs out front to make it look like it is really pushing that water. And that works. You can go far away. It kind of works. It looks decent. But I wanted to try something with glass because I see people use glass for so many things. All right, I'm going to start with the light gray. And I just want to have kind of follow the shape of the front of our boat here. Do something just like that. Stay a couple blocks out. And yeah, this is something that might look better when it's actually in the water as opposed to just sitting on top of some more glass. But let's see. Put some white maybe to show where it's really kind of pushing, displacing the water. Maybe. I can go in and add some glass paint. Again, file everything in. Let's see. I wouldn't worry too much about making this look symmetrical. It's just like the water in real life is not going to be symmetrical, but I think that adds to it. What you do here is really up to you, but I think that adds to it. And then we can go along the back even. Let's go like this. Oops. And we can add it kind of as like a wake following our ship. Yeah, let me know what you think. I don't think the blue glass was the best block to place over this. Like it works, but it also doesn't at the same time. So, all right, I'm gonna try something. Give me a minute. All right, here we go. I now have a tank for our ship to sit in. I think that works. I think the little glass up at the front works. I think the glass at the back works. Let me know what you guys think. This is my guide. I know it's probably not like the best guide you've ever seen, but it's mine and I did it myself. So I'm happy with it. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I want to add one more thing here. Whoa! We're gonna take just a little bit of this to one of those. I think that maybe. I think that adds just a little bit. All right. Well, that's it. So that's how you build a boat. And it's crazy. All it took was just 5. All it took. This is how you build a boat in Minecraft. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoop. And you place it. You gotta place it in the water. Water right here. And then bam. Look at that. That's all it is. Just 5 blocks of wood. There we go. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a different video compared to what I normally make. But yeah, something that I want to make. This is the boat that I'm going to be building as our first ship in our survival world. If there's anything you think I should change on it, any of the colors, any of the shaping, for anything, let me know. I'm open to suggestions, but this is how I would do it. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.